Hi everyone, this is Jess with Marching Cow Productions, here with a brand new video series called Breaking Down, where I take different random cultural phenomena and boil them down to their bare essentials. We're starting off with the plot of every romantic comedy ever made. Here we go. Okay, so we start out, we gotta set the scene, right? And it's always that something inconvenient and vaguely terrible happens. Like someone loses their job, or they walk in on their spouse or their significant other cheating on them, or they get in this big blowout fight and they move out of their house and they go somewhere else and the place that they go is terrible. Like there's always something that is big and life-changing and very rarely relevant ever again. And for the purposes of this conversation, we're going to say that happens to our female protagonist because that is usually how it goes in these types of situations. At this point, the best friend is introduced. She is bubbly. She is supportive. She has no other personality. She comes in and she sits the female protagonist down and she's like, everything is going to be okay. We've got this. What you really need is a girls' night out. We are going to solve this with alcohol and dancing. But our female protagonist is too depressed. She can't do it. She's too sad. She will not be swayed. Everything is awful and she will not be convinced otherwise. But wait. Now we have a hint of personality from bubbly best friend. There is something else going on in her head, and it is stubbornness. She refuses to allow female protagonist to sit at home by herself in her sweatpants eating ice cream. No, no. The place for her to have her meltdown is out among other people, in a bar or a club. It's been a lot, our female protagonist, she has been through the ringer, and she just does not have the energy to argue. She does have the energy for a lot of eye rolling and like a lot of grumbling and a lot of complaining, but eventually she gives in. She will in fact put on real clothes. She will in fact leave that ice cream carton in the freezer where it belongs, and she will allow herself to be dragged out for a night on the town. Step 2. The meet cute. So at this point, we've got our female protagonist and her bubbly best friend out. Maybe drinking, maybe dancing, almost definitely complaining about the collective mess that is their lives. And we have many options here, but they all basically boil down to the exact same thing, which is first contact. So some of my favorite options include the following. 1. Bubbly best friend suddenly and dramatically leans forward across the table or the bar or whatever, and she's like, hey, that hot guy over there, totally staring at you. And the female protagonist, even though she is objectively and obviously attractive, is like, no, 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 no. There's no possible humanly way that a hot guy would be staring at me. Impossible. Cannot happen. That's option 1. Option 2. There's a waiter or a bartender, also hot, also obviously paying a lot of attention to female protagonist for reasons that are obviously not to do with wanting to get a higher tip. Option 3. There's some sort of bumping situation, like maybe he spills a drink on her, or he spills his food on her, or she's walking to the dance floor and they collide suddenly. Who could have guessed? Either way, they have now met each other, they have no choice but to speak, and one of two things is going to happen. Either 1, they have obvious and instant chemistry, or 2, they completely hate each other. There is no in between. Now that our romantic leads have met and separated once, it's time to make sure that they never ever go anywhere again without seeing each other. And whatever dynamic is already established, that's pretty much gonna stay for the rest of the movie. So if they already like each other, there has to be just like this series of completely unnecessary minor obstacles, like maybe the male lead has some sort of bland significant other, or the female lead's ex suddenly comes back in, and he's obviously the worst, but for some reason she's kind of into it, like she's sort of interested, or maybe they work together and they're still very obviously admitting that they're attracted to each other, but they're like, we can't do anything about it because work. So there's always something. Or if they hate each other from the beginning, they just continue to antagonize each other forever. And it's not always necessarily the clearest whether there is any actual liking of the person. Like, they're obviously attracted to each other, but is there any hope that you will actually like this person as a human being at any point? Not always clear. This is also the point in the story where the bubbly best friend gets her side plot with the male lead's, comic relief sidekick. It always starts out here. And whatever the dynamic is that our romantic leads have, this side plot is going to feature the opposite. Now that we've established the way things are, it is time to change them. This is your moment. This is the impulsive kiss. This is the date that goes really well. This is the time when they have to work together to overcome a problem and they realize that, oh my god, suddenly everything is new. And maybe we even get a montage of happiness. But wait. We can't be happy now. The movie's only like 2/3 over, so now we have to come up with a new thing. And the new thing is always miscommunication of some kind. So, like, my favorite ones of this are when somebody, overhears a conversation that they had no business being a part of, or, someone walks into the middle of something that is already happening so they don't have the full context. So they see, like, the ex kiss the love interest and they're like, I can't believe you cheated on me, you know how sensitive I am about that. Or like, I can't believe you said that to him, you know how sensitive I am about that. And then there's a big blowout and there's a big drama and somebody storms out and somebody cries and it's a whole mess, and if they had talked to each other for 5 seconds they could have solved this problem instantly, but instead the movie is going to go on for another 30 minutes. This is where we get our misery montage. He is miserable, she is miserable, both of their best friends are miserable because somehow their romantic drama is messing with the side plot, but nobody's doing a good job of fixing this until finally somebody sits somebody else down and they're like, hey, just so you know, you were super wrong, and here's why. And this is all very obvious to everyone else. But this person, whoever it is, who is wrong, whichever half of the romantic pair has now suddenly realized that they are wrong. This is something that they have never even conceptualized before. They're like, oh. So now we've realized that we're wrong. And now the only way to fix this is to do something so completely over the top elaborate that no one would ever actually do it in real life. So usually this involves an extremely public confession of love in front of 1,000,000 people, and it's usually somewhere kind of weird, like her work, or his work, or someone's wedding, or someone's engagement party, or like a theme park, or just something ridiculous. And there are always bonus points given by me if the person who is doing the speech is someone who has been shown to be like a little bit awkward about that kind of thing, or someone who's like, I never talk in front of people, that kind of thing where like they have to do something that forces them to step out of their box so that they can like make sure the person knows that they're serious about it. I also like the options where it's like they have to stop the sudden quickie wedding to whoever was the third member of the love triangle, or they have to chase after the plane as it like goes by out the window, but then it turns out the person who was supposed to be on the plane just couldn't get on the plane. It's this moment. It's the just over the top, gotta fix it at the last minute, 11 o'clock number Hail Mary moment. Love is professed. People cry. Bonus points if one or both parties of this relationship have never successfully told anyone that they love them before. And then we get one more wrap-up scene where everybody's so happy and so into it, even the person whose fake wedding got derailed, theoretically. And then we just fade to black and we leave the movie theater, delighted and convinced that once again, love has overcome all.